Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Book Talks with Dhanesh after 4 months, and today we are going to start with a new podcast, with a new segment, with a new story, that is Wired Hearts. So previously, just recently you all got an update on my YouTube channel that there is a new podcast series going to be started soon, and that day is today. So we'll not make any more excuses and we'll start with the story. But before going to the story, we'll start with the introduction. So welcome to a future where love is illegal, emotions are monitored, and humanity itself is optional. Wired Hearts is a story of impossible connection in a world that no longer believes in soulmates. It's about a boy who feels too much and a girl who was never supposed to feel anything at all. It's about grief, awakening, and the courage to love even the world tells you not to. So plug in, stay with me, and let me take you deep into a future where the line between man and machine has all but disappeared, and one boy dares to draw it again with his heart. This is Wired Hearts. So now we move towards on the first chapter of the second podcast series, that is Wired Hearts. The boy who felt too much. James Matthew lived in a city that had forgotten how to feel. Neo Tokyo 2147, the pinnacle of civilization, the marvel of man-made order. A metropolis carved in a chrome and glass, its skies crisscrossed by floating highways and digital billboards whispering synthetic dreams. The air was so clean, it tasted sterile. The streets were so quiet, you could hear your own thoughts echo back at you. A dangerous thing in a place that discouraged introspection. The city was efficient, safe, flawless. It was also hollow. Gone were the spontaneous things. Laughter shared between strangers, children chasing fireflies through smoky streets, old men arguing over poetry at midnight cafes. In their place, bots who cleaned before the dust fell, AI pets that never died, partners you could program to never leave. People weren't encouraged to feel anymore. Feeling led to friction. Friction disrupted productivity. And yet, James felt everything. At 17, he was a quiet observer in a world too loud with logic. He moved like a shadow between the gears of society, unnoticed, unremarkable, but wide awake inside, where others nodded and complied. James questioned. Where others uploaded daily emotion dampeners, James hoarded the raw ache of memory like forbidden treasure. His classmates called him Glitch Boy. His teachers said he lacked social compatibility. Even his own father, a senior engineer at a towering Synthelian corporation, had long since stopped trying to understand him. Not that their relationship was always broken. There was a time before the silence, a time before his mother died. It wasn't a violent death, not a crash or illness. It was quieter, more insidious. One day, the government approved memory augmentation, chip in a brain, short-circuited. She was in the middle of telling a story, a childhood memory. Then, nothing. A flicker, a static pause, and she was gone. Declared an unfortunate but rare malfunction, statistically insignificant. No apologies, no lawsuits, just a sterile report and a box of belongings that still smelled like her. His father shut down after that, not in anger, in indifference. Work replaced warmth, code replaced conversation. James learned to stop knocking on his door, learned to eat dinner alone, learned to feel too much in a house designed to erase it. And so, he found solace on the rooftop. Every night, while the city pulsed with quiet perfection below, James climbed 12 flights of stairs and lay beneath the one part of Neo Tokyo that hadn't been digitized the sky. Even if it was usually cloudy, he liked pretending stars still existed behind the haze. He lay there, earbuds in, listening to old music from centuries past, songs full of sorrow, rebellion, passion, human things. Artists who screamed about love, who wrote about missing someone so much it hurt to breathe. Songs banned in public AI systems now, flagged as emotionally volatile. James called them truths. He had whisper lyrics under his breath like prayers. And dream of someone who might feel as deeply as he did. It was during one of those rooftop nights that the call came. James, his father's voice crackled through the old intercom. James sat up, startled. The intercom was almost never used. He pulled out his earbuds. Yeah, I need you in the lab now. James rolled his eyes, grabbed his jacket, and descended the stairs. He expected the usual organized components, wipe down consoles, maybe realign a neural link. His father rarely trusted him with anything beyond menial tasks. Not since the accident. But that night would be different. That night would change everything. The lab was colder than usual, clinical, almost funereal. The hum of dormant servers filled the air like ghost static. Rows of robot limbs gleamed under glass. Mechanical eyes blinked in darkness, waiting to be installed. In the center of the room was something unfamiliar, a gurney. A form covered in a metallic grey sheet lay motionless beneath the spotlight. James hesitated at the door. What is that? His father didn't look up from the console. Prototype. Just arrived. Don't touch it. James stepped closer, curiosity blooming despite himself. It looks human. That's because it was designed to, his father replied, trying rapidly. Top secret project. Code name Eva09. You will forget you saw her after tonight. Her? James' chest tightened. He approached the gurney slowly, fingers trembling, and peeled back a corner of the cover. What he saw made him forget how to breathe. She was she was exquisite, not in the artificial way. Most androids were perfect symmetry and exaggerated features. No, she was beautiful in a way that felt familiar, like a dream he had once had as a child and forgotten until now. Skin pale and unblemished, like fresh snowfall. Eyelashes dark and flutter soft. Lips parted slightly, as if whispering something in sleep. Silver white hair framed her face in gentle waves. Not fiber optic strands, but hair, real or real enough to make him forget the difference. No interface ports, no glowing chest panels, no serial numbers visible on her skin. Just a girl, sleeping, waiting. He felt something strange. Not fear, not awe, recognition. His father noticed. "Don't get attached," he said sharply, finally turning around. "She is not real. She is a machine, a tool." James said nothing because deep down in the deepest part of his itching, beating heart, something impossible was happening. A connection, a hum in his bones. Like a wire had been strung between his soul and the girl on the table. And someone, somewhere, had finally flipped the switch. And even though he knew it was crazy, even though everything in this world told him otherwise, James felt something real. As he stared at her, still face serene, untouched, not yet awake, he realized this wasn't just a machine. This was the beginning, the first crack in the cold shell of his lonely life, and the spark that would burn down everything he thought he knew.